deserve the return of the points that they got, because in my opinion I think they played very well against Durban City. They did not deserve to get a draw. I think they also played very well against Chiefs. They did not deserve to lose. And they played against Sekhukhune, which again I don't think it's a game they deserve to lose. And now to finish with the top 4 teams, we played, I think, very well against Sundowns. For me, it was a very good performance for the team, which should help the team to start to believe a little bit more in the process. And I'm hopeful that from here we can build something.
Coach, did the conditions in any way work in your favor? Perhaps having the rain, having the wet outfield as well in the pitch, did that work in your favor? And secondly, how sweet is it to beat your former team as well?
I wouldn't know how it would work in my favor to have the pitch conditions like this, because I think for the type of football that we play, both teams would prefer a pitch that is compact, that is quick, but not slippery, because our football actions are always geared for the next and the next pass, the extra pass, and you can't have that rhythm when the pitch is not very good. And to a certain extent, I think possession was lost a lot in this game by both teams. Though I think the areas where they lost the ball favored us a little bit more. I was just unhappy that from those situations we had too many situations where we regained possession as a result of probably the conditions, or maybe the stress from the players around. But we did not capitalize in those moments. And as for beating Sundowns, I would not be looking at it as my former team, and it will feel bad if I want to gloat about beating Sundowns, because this team has done so much for me and my family, and I will always be grateful to this team. I never have feelings of thinking I'm better or what, because I know this is a very, very powerful team. I hear people saying this season is going to be something different. In my opinion, I think this team is still very strong. It's just a matter of time. You must remember they did not have a proper preseason, and we are still capitalizing on that. In the first 10 matches, you can expect them not to be in sync, and also the fact that they were in the Club World Cup, it took its toll. The adaptation from the Club World Cup alone should at least take close to a month for the players to really adapt very well. And I don't think they are at where they are supposed to be. And when I look at the recruitments they made, I also still feel they've done very well. I think Nunes is a very good player. The young boy Bennett was with us in the DDC. He's a very, very good football player. And the boy they got from Portugal, the other youngsters, it's also very good. So in my opinion, I just see a team that lost today, but which does not define that this team is no longer good enough, because in my opinion, class is permanent. You know, there are moments where with that class you can always be punished here and there, but in my opinion, I think Sundowns is still very strong this season. And I'm honest when I say that.
Good afternoon, Coach. Congrats on the win. And just sticking on the point of Sundowns being your former team, did perhaps your familiarity with the team have any influence in your tactical planning for this game, or do you perhaps feel that you're facing a totally different team when you're looking at them in terms of the expectations tactically on the field?
What I can say, because the tactical orientation of the team has completely changed from what you used to do in the past, and I don't think it's bad. I think it's very dangerous still. When you see Salas dropping in, you see Matthews dropping in, they cause a lot of chaos. The only thing that maybe I was fortunate with is that I know most of these players in terms of their individual profiles. I know which side they are vulnerable, which side they are stronger. So it's always it always helps a little bit in understanding that when this player receives the ball, he's most likely going to turn to this side more than this side, and try to be always on the side where you put him at a disadvantage. And that helps more especially with the central midfielders. And I've worked with them for so many years. There's so many things that I can pick up in terms of the detail technically. This one only scans once, this one scans too early, this one scans immediately when just before he receives the ball. So chances are that he might not be ready for the press that is coming very, very strong towards him at that time. So those little things that I know, because I've trained them and I've seen them in training, and I know which shortcomings they have under a little bit of pressure, because most teams in the league don't put Sundowns under pressure. And because most teams don't put Sundowns under pressure, it's very difficult to see that Sundowns sometimes does not defend very well. And I know it. I was coaching this team. I know what happens when in moments where they are under a lot of pressure, because it's what probably has taken a little bit for us to do as good as we're supposed to do in the Champions League, because in the Champions League we don't get the respect. We used not to get respect, but in the PSL everybody is sitting in a low block. The only way they come at you is on a counter attack, and then that makes the team to be very familiar with such conditions, but not very familiar with conditions where they are under stress. But if you put them under stress without clarity, again, they can always open you up so easily. And even in this game, there were moments where they opened us up, but we recovered, because what was my priority as well was to have a quicker team than them, so that even in moments where we are caught out of position, but our recovery would help us, because we were slightly quicker in general from the top, the midfield, and the back four. All the players that were there was not even one player that is slow. So it was important for us to compensate in moments where we are suffering with a little bit of athleticism and physicality in certain moments.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Would you say something ukuthola points again namhlanje ekhaya futhi not away kusiza going to the Orbit College on Saturday? Going to Orbit?
No, man, I just appreciate that we've had 100% record in the stadium, because I've been advocating for us to play in the stadium, because I know the dimensions of this pitch. I know the quality of the surface, which we must also give credit to the people who are taking care of this pitch. The pitch is very good. It's a township pitch, but believe me, it's at a very high standard, and that helps my team a lot to be in an environment where the pitch is not a detriment to how we want to play football. So winning this match, going back to your question, for me it is just good to make the people to start to believe a little bit more, because sometimes the Thomases and the doubting Thomases and some of the players sometimes who when you change the structure, you change how the team plays, sometimes you do get a little bit of resistance where players feel, hey, maybe you are moving us away from the comfort zone. But the buy-in is getting stronger and stronger from the players, because they've realized it's very difficult for many teams in the league to dominate them, and that can only be consolidated by the results. Like I'm saying to you, when we played in Polokwane, the 2 matches that we played there, I've never been that unfortunate in my life, where I considered goals in the last minute, last 30 seconds of the game. And people start to say, but why did you make this substitution? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Because everybody in this game has got an opinion. But the truth of the matter is, those games should have been backed. And in moments where we considered the goal, in both games, unfortunately, if you look at it very closely, we had a very big chance to score that goal. And we did not score that goal, because in the first game against Polokwane, Komara had broken from the defense. Dion should have just run forward, but Dion wanted the ball to be played fit. Had Dion run in, Komara passes beyond the defense and he plays the ball to Mngqithi on the other side, it's a goal. You go to Sekhukhune, the same thing happens. Gianni clears the ball and Sitebe has got an opponent next to him, but he also has Mngqithi behind. But Dion is in between the defenders. If he just touches that ball with his head instead of trying to receive with the chest, Dion is going straight to goals with unmarked because there was no one. The team was too disparate. They were in and around their halfway line. But when you lose those matches, it puts stress in the team. It puts the team in positions where now they start to say, hey, maybe we should have just sat back, we should have just consolidated. And maybe it's true. But what if we had scored first before they score? Would we say we should have consolidated, or would we all understand that maybe in a game of football, because we still have the numbers? So the conditions of counter-attacks in both matches were not there. There wasn't much space behind. We had numerical superiority, but we did not take our responsibilities to protect the box as much as we could. And we conceded goals from almost the same situations. And that on its own makes people to start having question marks. Hey, maybe it would have been better to come back with 2 points. And maybe they are right. But what if we came back with 6 points? Because it's possible. And I'm an offensive coach by nature. I will always want to try to win the match and to play for anything else.
Evening coach this Sunday from South. We saw some good substitutions from you today, but I think one in particular is Usise, number 19. How's he settling into the team? And for those of us who don't really know him as a player, what can he add to your team, essentially?
Sise is a very good football player technically, and I'm just lucky to even have him at Arrows because circumstances maybe favoured me. But he's been on trials in Portugal, in France. They wanted him badly before his contract was up with the team. And when his contract got finished, there was a little bit of silence from those teams in Europe because maybe they were not aware. And I managed to get him just like that. But believe me, he's a hell of a good player. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the under-23 captain of Ivory Coast. And he's a hell of a good player, but tactically he still has some issues that we must deal with because we are playing a more dynamic 4-3-3, and he's normally a 6 or an 8 in a 2-man midfield. So we are still trying to help him to understand our structure. I was particularly pleased with his technical application in this game, but I was not too sure about his tactical orientations. But I can tell you he's a very good football player. In no time, he will have respect.
Thank you, coach.
So right.
I know.
Thank you so much.